5 at noon is being brought to you by Insurance Corporation of Belize, serving Belize for 40 years.
Good afternoon, Belize. It's midday, and you're tuned into the news at noon, where we bring you the latest updates from around the country. I'm Isani Cayetano, and here's what's making headlines today. DJ Chris is charged in fatal hit-and-run that killed veteran police officer. American entertainer is fined $2,700 for marijuana bust at the PGIA. One town to rule them both. Should Ladyville and Lords Bank merge? And Belize signs Safe Third Country deal. Will U.S. asylum seekers soon arrive? These stories are coming up in just 1 minute.
When I was a student, ICB was there to protect me, ensuring my education and future. When I got my first car, ICB was there to protect me, providing excellent coverage and peace of mind on the road. When we moved into our first apartment, ICB was there to protect us, securing our belongings and giving us a sense of security. And when we got our first house, ICB was there for us, protecting our home and everything we've worked so hard for.
At every step of your life's journey, ICB is there for you. For more information, call 224-5328 or visit our nearest branch.
Welcome back. It was a tragic start to the week on Monday, July 28th, when 38-year-old police constable Arsenio Kus lost his life in a horrific hit-and-run on the Philip Goldson Highway. Kus, who had just finished his shift at the Ladyville police station, was heading home to Belize City on his motorcycle when a black vehicle slammed into him near mile 6 and sped off without stopping. Despite being rushed to the KHMH, he was pronounced dead shortly after. Fast forward more than 3 months, and there's finally been a major development. On Tuesday, November 11th, police formally charged 34-year-old Chris Rosado, a well-known DJ and businessman, with manslaughter by negligence, causing death by careless conduct, and failing to stop and report an accident. Rosado, who turned himself in the day after the crash, is expected to appear in court following these serious charges. Kus wasn't just any officer. He had nearly 20 years of service and had been recognized as the most outstanding field training officer. An American entertainer learned a very expensive lesson in Belize yesterday, one that cost him thousands of dollars and nearly his vacation. 25-year-old Elijah Quarty Mack, a performer from Fort Worth, Texas, landed at the Philip Goldson International Airport on a Delta flight from Atlanta. But instead of heading straight to paradise, Mack was stopped at customs when officers discovered 3 vacuum-sealed bags of marijuana, 387 grams in total, tucked inside his gray suitcase. Mark was quickly escorted to the Ladyville police station and charged with importing a controlled drug. In court, he didn't waste any time. He pled guilty and admitted it was less than that, but with the bags it came up to 387 grams. He even told the magistrate, quote, "I didn't mean to disrespect your country. In my country, it's different," end quote. Now, the last American caught with just 35 grams was fined $6,000. Mack had 11 times that amount, so the starting point was $5,000. But after deductions for his remorse, apology, and early guilty plea, the fine dropped to $2,700, which he paid on the spot. The senior magistrate made it clear that the amount was an aggravating factor, but Mack's genuine remorse and family circumstances, he cares for a disabled brother, helped him to avoid jail time. Instead, he walked out with a lighter wallet and hopefully a big lesson learned. Mack says he's in Belize for 5 days to visit cousins on vacation. But after this, we're guessing his trip just got a lot less relaxing. Belize is about to play a surprising role in U.S. immigration policy. Soon, the country will start receiving asylum seekers turned away from the United States under President Trump's immigration crackdown. The move comes after the Senate ratified the controversial Safe Third Country agreement on Tuesday, a decision pushed through with strong support from Church Senator Louis Wade. While the opposition and other social partners raised serious objections, Wade stood firm, saying accepting these migrants is simply, quote, the Christian thing to do. So what does this mean for Belize? For now, it's a waiting game, but the debate over whether this agreement is a humanitarian gesture or a political gamble is just heating up.
There is a passage of scripture which reminds us that in entertaining strangers, some have entertained angels unawares. We are reminded of it because sometimes when we look at those who must flee their country or leave their country, we are afraid because they are strangers. We have reservations because we have our own difficulties, and we wonder how they are going to affect our culture, our country, our community, our national security, and all of these things. All peoples of all countries have these questions when people come into their country. These things are normal. And sometimes it is easy to paint them as the enemy, as demons. And so the scripture balances it, that reminds us that those who travel these distances for help are not always demons.
Should Ladyville and Lords Bank join forces and become one town? That idea came up last week when both village councils sat down with community members and Belize Rural Central Area Representative Dolores Balderramos Garcia for a preliminary discussion. No official plans yet, but the thought of merging these two growing communities has people talking. Ladyville's chairman, Bernardo Bennett, is all for it. He says Ladyville's population has exploded over the past few decades, and with that growth comes challenges like infrastructure and public safety. A merger, he believes, could mean better resources and stronger governance. So, what would this look like? A brand new municipality combining two of the fastest growing villages in the country. It's early days, but the conversation is happening and residents are weighing the pros and cons. In this week's 5-point breakdown, we'll look at this idea a little closer.
Since turning chairman in 2019, the conversation came back up again inside the community. And last 2 weeks ago, we have a committee in Ladyville that we call a Citizen Advisory Committee, which is basically was formed from the police department formation in Ladyville. And this committee is made up of a different cross-section of people in Ladyville. We have religious leaders, pastors, we have social leaders, we have people from the judiciary, we have people from both political divides who we normally would come together and just discuss issues that is affecting the community and see how we can address them. So in that meeting, after the meeting basically was concluded, before we adjourned, the committee brought up the discussion about township, because of the number of issues that arise that looking at the Village Council Act, it's hard to address these issues because the Village Council Act is not all that autonomous to match the issues now in Ladyville. So they say, what about the possibility of turning into a town? And after discussing all the possibilities and stuff, the members of that committee decided and asked me as a chairman to explore and to try to see how we can get this done, because they believe it's time now that Ladyville should turn a tongue, and of course inviting Lord Bank to see if we can do somewhat like in Santa Elena, St. Nastro, to just merge and become Ladyville Lords Bank tongue.
That's a wrap for the news at noon. But don't worry, there's plenty more coming your way at 6 p.m. We'll dive deeper into these stories and more. In the meantime, visit greaterbelize.com and follow us on Facebook for real-time updates. And don't miss Open Your Eyes tomorrow morning for fresh takes on today's headlines. Thanks for tuning in, Belize. Stay informed, stay inspired, and have a fantastic afternoon.
News 5 at noon was brought to you by Insurance Corporation of Belize, serving Belize for 40 years.
In the face of tragedy, you depend on accurate and timely information. In times of triumph, you seek to be inspired. You demand transparency and accountability. Your desire is to know and to understand, to be heard and seen. I take pride in telling stories that safeguard communities. Your dedication and success live on through these reports. Getting to the truth is my duty. My unwavering commitment is to tell the stories that matter the most to you. I am News 5.